Right folks, just a quick announcement before we get up and running with today's video about my Christmas/holiday festive period release schedule. Those of you who've been around on the channel for the last couple of years will have been expecting this, but starting today we're going down to just one video a day for the next couple of weeks, mainly so I can have a little bit of time off over Christmas, spend some time with the family. So release schedule, it'll rotate between non-League to Legend one day, home the next, and just rotate like that for 2 weeks until the 7th of January. Monday the 7th of January is when we're back to 2 videos a day again. It'll be 4 o'clock weekdays, 11 o'clock weekends, and there won't be normal videos on Christmas Day and New Year's Day because I'll be doing my review of the year and plans for next year, channel update videos. Again, that I do every year. This is nothing new for those of you who've been around for a while, so don't panic if you're not going to be getting your normal dose of 2 videos a day. That will be back in 2 weeks, but, you know, got to spend some time with the family. Hello and welcome to Club 4 Part 3 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode we have an FA Cup quarter-final match away against Reading and then a championship game at home against Bolton. Since you were last with me, things are continuing to go awesomely. We were very briefly 3 points off top of the league, but unfortunately we got an absolute thumping against Preston. We've been in such good form. We had almost an entire month where we didn't even concede a goal after the Bristol Rovers game that you saw in the last episode. Just winning games. Beat West Ham, mid-table Premier League side West Ham 4-0 in the FA Cup 5th round. We were in incredible form. Top of the table Norwich, beat them 3-0. Those 2 games, I was convinced we were going to do a championship title FA Cup double this season because we were that good. And goodness me, did we come down to earth with a thump against Preston. We gave some debuts in the Palace game as a direct response to that, just to freshen up the midfield a bit. Gave Purby and Tobin their debuts. Tobin played really well and scored, actually, just to really freshen things up a bit. We'd been doing 2 games a week for a long time, and I think we had some tired legs in that midfield. We weren't really rotating. So hopefully, having rested them midweek and still picked up a win, we can be back to winning ways against Reading, because to have an FA Cup quarter-final against a team below us in the league is a very exciting prospect to have at this point of the season. We're 1 game away from Wembley, and it's a game we're capable of winning. In fact, Reading, back then, we've already beaten them, so we know we can beat Reading. This is what the league table looks like. Much closer than it has been all season. 11 games left. We still are only 3 points off the top of the league. It looks like it's going to be a battle between us, Brighton, and we are Fulham. We're Fulham, Kev. So we just got to keep winning, keep in the form that we're in. I've never known form like this. It's been spectacular. I just wish we hadn't. If we hadn't have lost to Preston, we'd be top of the league right now with an FA Cup quarter final. And what a turnaround that would be from a team that were mid-table when we arrived in December. I would have been I'm still very proud, but I would have been prouder. Right, this is the team that we're going to be playing for the Reading game. It is our familiar 4-3-3 control possession system that's been working so very well, with more familiar faces coming back into the midfield again today. If they don't do a job today, then we know it's time to rotate a little bit more going forward. But fitness levels are generally quite good, and these 2 have been 2 of our best players on this run, so it seems mad to just drop them off the back of 1 poor result against Preston. Drop them permanently anyway. We did rest them for 1 game. So we've got Rinner in goal, a back 4 of Brian, Moore, Mawson, and every time I have to say Brian Moore, I think, Brian Moore. I know that name. I've spoken to that man on the radio. Brian, Moore, Mawson, Larson. Is it him I spoke to? I think it was. I forget. We've got Tainio. Is that how you say it? Tainio in midfield. I still don't know. People have tried to help me. I'm going to say Tainio. That's probably wrong. That sounds like a breakfast cereal. Cullen and Calderon in front of him. Mitrovic up front, supported by Mitrita and McBurney out on the right-hand side, because we've got issues with Hall. Where is he? Where is Hall? Tired. Like I said, we've got a lot of tiredness at the moment. We don't really have a backup right winger. Currow played a little bit against West Ham, but Hall really needs to recover from, 81% conditioning. Not so good. So let's get into the game. I can't believe we're rotating. We rotated our midfield in the last game. We're now rotating our wingers for such an important game. But the league is the most important thing. I know it's a cliche, and I know it would be fun to have an FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. But realistically, we're not going to win the FA Cup. Manchester United are still in it. So we do need to try and keep our players fit, which I've not been very good at rotating so far. So let's assertively say, oh, Reading have lost 4 of the last 5 games. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. It's written in the stars, boys and girls. Right, let's have a little look. Let's get into this. And hopefully put on a good performance, even without our 2 flying wingers who've been so good for us this season, Albrighton and Hall. But like I say, we rotated the central midfielders out in the last game and were very good then. So I think we have got some good strength in depth. I've just probably mismanaged it a little bit so far and not really taken advantage of our strength in depth. I was getting myself settled in, getting to know the squad, and plus it worked for a long time. You saw that run of results. We just run out of steam a little bit against Preston, so I think I need to get a little bit better at knowing when the time to just take someone out for a match is, and I think probably when they drop below 90% conditioning, that's the time to give them a rest, like with Hull for this match. Albrighton, just on the basis that he's an old man, plus Mitrita wanted more game time anyway, and I think probably next season he's going to be our starting left winger anyway, because Albrighton's going to be a year older. We'll probably move him on in the summer. We don't really need a 34-year-old, especially if we're going back into the Premier League next year. I think taking a 34-year-old winger up into the Premier League who's been playing down in the Championship for the last 5 seasons, no matter how good he's been at various points in the past, no matter how good he is in the Championship right now, he's probably a little bit beyond making that step up again. So I think he'll be moving on anyway. Mitrita is he's a decent option out on that left-hand side. Right, 0-0 at half-time. It's been a fairly featureless first half, other than the fact that we've controlled possession again, which is what we do. So yeah, we have been the better team. Just keep doing what you're doing. We will be fine. I like that as a half-time team talk. We've really restricted Reading and not let them play at all. The big issue is the fact that despite really controlling the game, controlling possession, we've not really created anything in the way. We've certainly not created a chance worthy of a highlight yet, which is a little bit of a worry. We've had 6 shots on target, but I don't think we've seen any of them. And nothing's happened in the first 25 minutes of this second half, which is baffling. Right, we need to get creative now. At this stage of the FA Cup, I don't think you get replays. I think it goes to extra time and penalties from the quarter-final onwards, if I remember rightly, from previous years. Obviously, that could have changed. We'll bring Albrighton on now. And I'm tempted to put McBurney up front, take off Mitrovic, bring on Currow. That's the front 3 that played the last 20 minutes or so against West Ham in the last round and looked very good. So perhaps we'll give that one a try. Perhaps it's time Mitrovic got a little bit of a rest, because he's played pretty much every game on this run as well. And I've not really given McBurney any kind of chance yet. Too much criticism in the comments as well about how McBurney was the top scorer when I arrived, and I've just written him off immediately and not given him the chance to prove himself. Here's Calderon though from range, 77 minutes on the clock. We finally get, I mean, it's a half chance. It's not a proper full-on chance, but he absolutely took it. And it all comes from us just controlling possession again, knocking the ball around nicely, keeping hold of it, and the big deflection of one of their players. It was still to do with controlling possession, and it's a lovely finish from Calderon. And 15 minutes-ish left. You'd like to think we've got 1 foot at Wembley now. Right, what can we do to freshen up the midfield? Cullen. We've got Mendy. I mean, that's an easy change to make. Mendy on for Cullen. I love having the strength in depth we've got here at Fulham. I genuinely don't understand how Steven Gerrard was making such of a mess of managing Fulham before I arrived. It seems his transfers were good. He's built a very good squad. He just wasn't getting the best out of them as players, which seems baffling. But then there has been a media report that Steven Gerrard's job is already under threat at Cardiff. Cardiff are still struggling down the bottom end of the league. So Gerrard might actually be sacked by Cardiff before the end of the season. What did we just do? 4 seconds left. And we've just absolutely... I mean, there's no explanation for what we've just done there. That's very poor. And it's the man who scored, Calderon, was so good at one end. And I guess he just fancies a bit of extra time. He didn't get to play in midweek against Crystal Palace. Oh, I've not had my full dose of football yet this week. Please let me play another 30 minutes. Oh, right. Now we've got Yeah, we need to sort ourselves out now. We were completely in control there. They never in a million years were going to create a chance for themselves. But this is just the kind of situation where that's going to give them so much energy and so much motivation going into extra time. We've already decided we're through at that point. I mean, you can see by how, I don't know how Calderon's still on an 8.3, but how lazy and, I mean, we could have made a fourth substitution. Hold the phone. Let's make a fourth substitution. We've got Larson basically on one leg at the moment. Let's get Sessegnon on for him and get into that second half of extra. I mean, that was probably a stupid thing to do because Larson's our penalty taker, or one of our penalty takers. We're 15 minutes away from penalties and we've just taken him off. Let's demand more. We've only played 107 minutes. It's time to demand more out of these players because we controlled the game for 90 minutes and now we've not really done anything for extra time. We don't want to have to rely on penalties because that's how you let the weaker team back into the game. And Reading are absolutely the weaker team here. Although you wouldn't know it to be watching these highlights because we've been pretty poor actually at creating chances, which I guess is, I mean, it shows how important our attacking prowess Hall has been. I guess if we do get knocked out, it allows us to concentrate on the league. Oh, that's sickening. It is sickening because we were so good, but we just, I don't think we fancied it. Right, let's, I want to get creative. I don't really want to change the system around because it's worked so long for so long. It's worked so well for so long. I'm just hoping that by yelling at them, let's tell them show some I can't even click on any of the things telling them what to do. Oh my word, I thought they were going to score again. We've got 7 minutes to try and get the penalties now. This is not how today was supposed to go. Let me shout! We've got knocked out. I don't know how this has happened. Oh, I blame Calderon completely. It's not my fault for taking Hall out of the team pre-match. I mean, you saw his fitness levels. He couldn't have played. What's happening here? 10 seconds left to book a spot at Wembley and we're faffing around at the back. Oh, right. Aggression. That was not good enough. Hopefully, we can now use that as a springboard to fire ourselves back into some momentum in the league because that was just awful. We're going to pretend that didn't happen. Right, my pathetic attempts at rotation continue. Albrighton and Hall come back in. We've not changed the midfield. We have brought Mendy in to replace Tino to give him a little bit of a rest. And we've got a right back on 87% conditioning. We could. No, I just want my best players on the pitch. I'm glad we've been knocked out of the FA Cup because why is he being given a squad number again? He's already played for us once. I don't know why he's just been given another squad number. He's actually already made his debut. No, he had. Have we got two players with very similar names? Hold on. We've got two Purbys. How is this a thing that's happened? Oh my! I thought it was the one we brought in on loan that I played in the last game. Goodness me! But we've already got. How? What are the chances of us having two Purbys? Is that a particularly common name? We need to get back to winning ways today. I'm losing my mind. Right. Let's be passionate. We've been assertive for too long. There you go. They want a passionate, good performance to show the media have been right to be positive about us. I'm really struggling with rotating players. This whole 2 games a week thing is ruining me. I'm not used to it. I'm used to it at the top level, like when we get to the Premier League and when we've been in the Premier League in the past. I know how to do it when you've got a real top quality squad and you've got 20, 22, 25 Premier League quality players. It's fairly easy to do them. But although we have got some good strength in depth, I look at Larson and think he's involved in so much, so many set pieces, so good crossing, that I don't really want to play a game without him. Sessegnon is not of the same quality as Larson. We didn't have a winger as good as Simon Hall to come in the last game. And I think we just need to, regardless of what division we're in next year, we need to be building some better strength in depth so that we've got so we're less reliant on individuals, and because we want to get to the perfect situation where we've got 18, 20 players who we can just plug into a system that works, and it doesn't really matter which combination of players we've got. Whereas at the moment, I think if we're without Hall, if we're without Larson, and potentially even without Mitrovic, I think if you lose any of those, we really don't look very good. So I think that we've got a couple of players who are very, very good and contributing a lot towards how well we're playing at the moment. Albrighton now to Cullen all the way out to Larson. There's the cross I'm talking about. Mitrovic, I think he was trying to head it across the hall. It was a weird header, but Cullen plays Brian in. Brian's fouled. We've got a penalty, and it's Mitrovic to take. 39 minutes on the clock, or 39 minutes on the clock. We've got the opportunity to go 2-0 up. Hopefully Mitrovic just tucks it away nicely. There it is, 2-0 to Fulham. And I don't know if we've got a game in hand at the moment. No, this is our game in hand. Okay, so we're playing the game in hand that we had. So as it stands right now, we're level on points with Brighton, who are directly above us, but they've got a slightly better goal difference. We could fix that today if we carry on playing well against Bolton. I think, actually, we'd struggle, but we could. And we're 3 points behind Norwich. Obviously, we've already beaten them as part of this elongated run-in, but we do have 10 games left, and if we can get back to the kind of form we were in before the little wobble against Preston and Reading, then I'm still hopeful. I mean, I'm quietly confident about automatic promotion. I'm still hopeful we could win the title. I feel like I'm owed a title after what went on at Forest Green, and I don't have that title to my name. I'd like a title on our way up to the Premier League, whether it's this year or next year. Whatever team it might be with, we'll be with Fulham for a few years, I think. I'm enjoying Fulham rather a lot. I think the only way I'd leave Fulham right now is if we got a big European team come in for us. I don't know, from previous saves, I know this next job leap is the hardest one to do. I know last year we were with Leicester, we had to get Leicester up to second in the Premier League before a big typical Champions League quality team were willing to give us an interview even. So I think that next leap is the hardest one. So we're going to be with Fulham for a while, unless we get a big German club or a big French club or a big Spanish club or Italian club come in for us, because that could be quite an interesting move to make. Right, let's get Mitrita on again. And Mitrovic can come off. We've got McBurney sat there as well. McBurney, I am determined to either get a performance out of him or get him sold, because he just doesn't seem to... You lot seem to really rate him. He was on 7 goals from 15 games when I arrived. What's he on now? 8 goals from 24. I mean, that's now looking a lot worse, although I guess you could say it's 8 from 12 starts in the league, which is pretty decent. But he just doesn't seem to do very much. And I like my players to do stuff. Right, so we've got two per buys on the bench. Well, I want to play the one I signed. There we go. Let's give him a game. I don't understand how that's happened. Right, that's really poor. Again, this is 2 games in a row now. We've controlled the game completely and then got into the last few... I mean, it's the 80th minute rather than 94th. But getting late on in the game and just absolute self-combustion at the back. We're just raving about how good Larson is, and that was really poor. And now let's... What should we do? Let's show some passion, because we just seem to have switched off a little bit. And I think we've talked about it all episode. That was terrible. But I think it's tiredness. I think we get to these points of the game, and because we're playing this short pass and move game, what a goal from Larson. That's why I didn't want to rest him, because he can do that. There you go. As it says in the commentary, now we can relax. Although don't relax too much, because relaxing towards the end of the game has been our problem. But that is an absolutely stunning free kick. Yeah, you give it the 1990 Gaza celebration. It's Larson again. Is he going to do it again? He only tried to. Goodness me. I was expecting that to be a cross. But no, he's going to have another pop. And now he's taking a corner. It's all Larson. And there's Hall. And it's straight at their keeper. I don't think I've touched set pieces since I've been at Fulham. And having my winger as the guy who's getting on the end of corners, that probably suggests it's something I could have a little look at. So, mental note, Kev. Look at your set pieces. Sort set pieces out. We used them so well at Forest Green, and I think they're just left on default here at Fulham so far. I wonder how many points that's... Not many points, because we've not dropped many points since we've been here. I wonder if it would have made a difference against Preston or Reading, though. Right, that's... yeah, I am happy with that. Well played, gentlemen. And we just want more of the same now. We've got 10 games left. Let's have a look. So, I mean, I guess we'll come back somewhere around here. I don't know exactly where. It depends how the run goes. If we draw a couple of games now and drop off the pace and it looks like we're just going to be in the playoffs, we'll probably just come back for the final 2 games. Brighton's going to be a massive game, so obviously they're the ones we're level on points with in second place. If it looks like we could secure promotion or win the title a little bit earlier, though, obviously we'll come back a little bit earlier. So we'll play it by ear a little bit, where we're going to be for the next episode. Which, remember, next episode won't be until, check the schedule, Monday. Christmas Eve will be our next episode. So we're going every other day on both saves at the moment. Yeah? Cool. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.